That was Sinners. What's it called? Grand Closing. And you're listening to a very, very special episode of Manigan's Movie Music live on Love the Beat Radio with me, of course, Reese Manigan. Okay, right. Now I'm going to be introducing you to my guest who I've been dying and buzzing to introduce for ages. And I've been so excited for her to be on the show. So, she is an actress who was in the horror movie Bone Lake. If you haven't seen the film, just a little spoiler alert, she gets a very, very brutal death in the very opening scene of the movie. Oh my goodness, the scene in it alone is absolutely shocking, brutal, dark, everything. But I tell you what an opening to a horror film it was. But she is here with me today to talk not just about Bone Lake, but of course about her acting, her career, what she wants to do, everything like that. So I'm very, very excited to introduce this next guest. Please welcome the very incredible and very super talented Eliane.
Hello. Now I can hear you. Let's see.
There we go. Anyway, how are you?
I'm very well, and you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Yes, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I really appreciate your time, and also you're live from Atlanta. So don't worry, you're not the only first American guest I've had on the show who's had to stay up really late in the night to do this. So I always appreciate when I get an American guest who stays up in the middle of the night to do this show. So yeah, so thank you for that, and also just thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much for having me in your show on your show. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Well, likewise, I appreciate you being here as well. Absolutely. Right. Okay. So, we obviously, like I mentioned before, we're not just going to be talking about Bone Lake. I mean, even though you're definitely well known for that movie, we're here to talk about you as a person and what you do. But also, I got to say, you're part of Massive March. You're one of the biggest guests that I've had on this show. So I really appreciate that you've wanted to come on and do this, because what I really love is that there are many actors out there who think, oh, I've been in this big movie and now I can pick and choose what interviews to do and whatever and do whatever I want. But it's really nice to know that, you know, you have been in this film, but you're like, no, I want to come on this radio show and talk to you and be there and support. So it really means a lot that you're being very supportive about this. So I appreciate that. But let's go back right to the beginning of your backstory. So when did you want to become an actress in the first place?
I think I always had that on me. Since I was a little kid, I love storytelling. I love reading books, so I would read books and playing in my mind. I would after reading the book, I would play and I would pretend I was the character, and I had my imaginary friend that would say the other lines, and we would be playing that. So since early, I knew that I wanted to be. It took me a little bit longer. My path was longer, but I had that in me. I think the storytelling, the books, that contributed a lot.
So you read a lot to inspire you for acting.
Yes. I had a very happy childhood, and I was blessed to have a father that would read stories to me all the time. I was a kid. I was allowed to be a child, you know, and I think that's my backstory. That grew to me wanted to be an actress, and here I am, you know.
Amazing. Okay, so it all began with books. Okay, that's quite original, because normally people say, "Oh, I watched a film and I want to be like that and grew up like that." So I was so you started out with books, and so when did you start to look at film and go, "Oh, that's where I want to." That's inspired me as well. Like, was there any movies that you grew up with that inspired you as well?
I think growing up in Brazil, we are always like all the soap operas. It was mostly soap operas, all the drama, all the being able to express yourself. Um, so that's what I always wanted to be. I wanted to be out there. I wanted to express myself. I wanted to leave other characters, like to be able to today I am this person, tomorrow I am another person. And but I think not only 2 years ago when I started looking at film, I started working on sets, and I decided that's what I want, and from place to little by little I got to film. I was working on sets, different sets. I started as a background, and then I said, you know what, I don't want to be just that, I want more. And that's when I said, I'm going to work my way. I'm going to learn, take classes, and put myself out there, because that's what I want, and that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, you originally said that you're from Brazil. So when did you move to it?
Correct.
So when did you move from Atlanta, from Brazil to Atlanta?
In 2000.
2000. Blimey,
In
I was
2000, yeah,
8 back then.
2000. Yeah.
Blimey.
Yes,
Wow. I was still a little
2000.
nipper
I
back then.
came
That's
to
crazy. And
America.
have you lived in Atlanta since then? Like you've
Yes.
never moved anywhere else? You've just stayed in Atlanta?
No, when I came to the United States, I was in Boston, the Boston area. And then I lived in Boston for 6 months. I moved to New Hampshire and I stayed there for 15 years. And then after I moved to Atlanta.
Ah, okay. That
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. Okay, okay. So you've definitely been around then.
Oh, yes, yes, everywhere.
Okay, amazing. So when obviously you moved to the States, that's obviously when you were moving to your, I guess, film career side. So I mean, I forgot to. Do you know what I actually forgot to do? I forgot to bring up your IMDb. 1 second, because I did have a. Oh, there you go. I've got it up now. So going down your list, if that's okay.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
I'm just quickly going to go from the beginning. So, you haven't been in too much I've probably seen, which is fine, but it's all good. But when did you? Do you remember your very first film, short film project that you did, and what was that experience like?
Oh, I worked in so many, but the first one, the meaningful one, was Revelation Party. I was the lead. The experience was amazing. So I will tell you right now, I had never had a bad experience. I'm doing what I love, and every opportunity for me, it's amazing. So I had never had a bad experience. The Revelation Party, I was a party. It was amazing. Was my first really experience on as a lead, and I don't know. I just love so much everything. The crew, the people that I worked with, amazing people, hard work people. We connected in all levels. We had fun. It was exhausting. We were back to back. It was filmed in 3 days.
Okay.
So it was back to back, but was amazing. My amazing experience.
Amazing. And it says here that it was only a short film as well, so it only took 3 days to shoot. Okay. It's. I mean, I'm looking here. You've obviously done quite a few short films as well. Also, you've been in an episode of All the Queen's Men. And looking down, it seems like you started only just a few years ago, 2023. So
Correct.
so the acting in a way did come quite later then, I guess. Like, it didn't come straight away. You had to still build your way up to it.
Yes, no, I didn't have the opportunity to dig into my career until later on. Before, it was just a dream. I wanted, I didn't know how. I had to raise a family, so I couldn't deviate from a regular life, And then later on, when I had the opportunity, I think it's when you get to the point when you start question. In my case, I start question, there is to be more to life than this. And I wanted to live my dream. How do I get to that point? But I think when you start thinking about those things, the universe goes for you, and I had the opportunity. I went out one day to relax, and I met an actor. We would start talking, and he was talking about his career, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. I want to so much. And we start talking, and that was it, was just that day. And after that, I started, no, I need to do something. And I start going researching, how do I jump in, how do I get into this again, how do I live my dream? And things start happening. I start digging, I start going to sets, um, looking for castings. And from there, from 2003, 2023 on, it's been an amazing experience.
That's great. And I'm guessing you're willing to go even further now that you've just done Bone Lake in a way, because that was kind of like your biggest moment. And I think it is, definitely.
It was my
Um,
biggest, yes.
so, obviously, I'm not going to jump into Bone Lake straight away because we're going to wait for just after. But there are some questions I do want to ask now that you've done the Bone Lake film. But the question I've got for you is, would you like what? Who? If you were to get there, let's say tomorrow you got the phone call, lead big film, you got there. What would the genre be for you? Who would the director be for you? And yeah, so what genre and which director would you go for if you got the phone call tomorrow that said, right, you're going to be a lead in this big movie, it's directed by so and so? What genre and director, who would you choose?
I think I would choose the same as, let's go, the Bone Lake director, the Mercedes Bryce. I loved her. Um, I would choose her. Working with her was amazing. So I would pick her to work with me because it worked. Um, the way that she was directing was very good. So let's keep it safe. Let's do it again. You
So
know?
you wouldn't choose Spielberg, Tarantino, David Fincher, if they were to come into your minds?
Um, if I have to choose, let's give opportunities to people. The big ones, great, they have their names.
Yeah.
And yes, I would be deeply grateful to have the opportunity to work with them. But let's deviate from the big names. Let's give opportunity to the people that are out there and can do as much as they can. I'm all about that.
Do you know what? That is the most considerate answer ever. Seriously, that is such a beautiful answer. The fact that you are saying, I don't care about the big names, I would rather work with indie filmmakers and all that. That is honestly the most gorgeous answer I've ever had from someone who has worked already. And like that, well done. Seriously, that is a fantastic answer. Do you know what? Hands down to you. Hands down to you. That
And listen, I am not saying that I don't want to work with the big
No, no, no,
names.
no. But it's good
I
that you're
do.
saying I'm not choosing the Hollywood lifestyle. I'm choosing the indie filmmaking style because they need the more support. I totally get what you're saying, but that is honestly a great answer. It's beautiful. So well done for answering that question like that. It just shows what a
Thank you.
considerate, down to earth person you are. That you are more about supporting rather than fame. So well done to you. Thank you. Well done. That is, no, seriously, great answer. Love it. Because most people probably would have been like, oh, would work with Spielberg. Of course I would. That's my career. Boom, boom, boom. You were just like, no, I'd rather help than be famous. So well done.
Because you know what? Even big actors, like if everyone would consider not no-name actors and actors out there, would have opportunities for everyone. Let's deviate. It's not the big names that are able to succeed.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I
I
mean?
do.
Like everyone, there are so many people that don't have opportunity because they don't have the big names behind, but they are so great. So let's deviate from that. Let's
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
let's everybody work. Let's be happy. you
You're
know,
speaking my
let's
language. You're
perform.
speaking my language. Exactly. This is what this show is all about. I've mentioned this. You know, Manigan's movie. It's about. It's not about actors or filmmakers just coming on to talk about themselves. They talk about the struggles they've had. Also, it's about working together, sticking together, you know. And unfortunately, I'm not going to lie, not every guest has been like that. I have had a couple of egos that have come on to be about themselves. But the 95% of them who've come on the show, they are ones that want to support each other, help each other. They don't care about being famous. So the fact that what you are doing right now, what you're answering, this is what the show is all about. So you are literally the perfect guest to be on this show for that. So again, well done. Well done. Honestly, it's amazing. Right, okay. So we talked about the directors just now, but what about the genre? Like if you had the phone call, what would be the genre for you if you was the leading star?
Suspense.
Suspense. Is it like thriller or
Suspense.
horror
Right.
or?
Thriller. Yes. Action. All combined. The one that goes for it. I don't want to be the victim. I want to play that strong character. Yes. You know, you can do it. I want to motivate people. So that's the kind of genre I want. I want a meaningful, you know, drama, action, suspense, that will bring the best of the character.
I love how you say it with such enthusiasm. Like, I want the suspense. I want the action because I can do it. I love it.
Oh,
Do you know,
yes,
it's the
yes,
most
yes. I
excitable answer
do.
you've given. Like, your face just turned like, yeah, that's what I'm after. Boom. Love it. Right,
Yes.
Eliane, you've answered the questions so beautifully. It's amazing. But we need to talk about Bone Lake after the next track. So this is why, because I've got so many questions that I want to ask you about that film and that scene. So we are definitely going to take a little breather and then prepare yourself because I've just got a few questions I really cannot wait to ask you. So guys, to bring up the theme of today's show, you know what I'm going to play now. Here's a little track from Bone Lake. See you in a moment. That is one of my favourite horror tracks. That was from Scream 5, Hospital Visitor. And before, I played a track from the movie Bone Lake because I might have a special guest who was in that movie, Eliane, and she's here with me live from Atlanta. And yeah, so welcome to Manigan's Movie Music, live on Love the Beat Radio with me, of course, Reese Manigan. Today is Massive
Yes.
March. And when I mentioned Massive March, I mentioned that I had 3 really big guests joining me from today, next week, and the week after. Today, I have Eliane. Next week, it's Gigi Bella, who was in Eddington. And the week after, it's Ben Whitehead, who voices Wallace in Wallace and Gromit. So those 3 wonderful people are joining me this month. But Eliane is here with me right now from Atlanta. Eliane, how are you enjoying the show?
I am loving it. Couldn't ask
Good to know.
for
Good to
better.
know.
This is amazing. Thank you.
Great to know. So we already asked about question. In case people didn't tune in, we've already asked about your backstory, where you're from, what you do, how your acting built up, and the stuff you've done now. But we know why we're really here, don't we? We need to talk about your most known project so far, and probably your most shocking, most brutal, most big scene you've ever done so far in your filmmaking history, which is, of course, the opening sequence to the horror film Bone Lake. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about that right now. So, I've got many questions I want to ask about this. And I know you haven't got a lot of time, but we'll squeeze up to 11 and then obviously, you know, it's all done. Right, so right, spoiler alert, guys. Eliane is in the very beginning of Bone Lake. It's the first scene that's like 2-3 minutes long. Her and her husband, not her real husband, but her acting husband, they run in the woods and they get chased by some dangerous people. Kind of like Wrong Turn vibes, I guess I got from this. Yeah, they both get really brutal deaths. I'm not going to explain what those deaths are because it's too early in the morning. But I got to say, for an opening for a horror film, Bone Lake really shocked me. I mean, I went into this movie blind. I did not watch any trailers. I didn't watch any spoilers. I didn't read anything about it. I just watched it with my wife one day and we were just like, whoa, that was an opening, like, for a horror film. But that's what I loved. I loved that it was shocking, and it was twisted, and the rest of the movie is as well. But my goodness, the opening sequence really, honestly, was like, whoa. And Eliane was one of the stars of the film who done it. So, Eliane, let's get down to the questions. Now, obviously, I asked you some questions off air about the scene and everything, but I'm not going to get into detail about that because this is a morning show, obviously. But to describe the scene, obviously, you and your husband, you get chased by these unknown assailants, which we find out who they are later. You're in the woods, typical horror film, chased by these dangerous people that we don't see, and then obviously you both get brutally killed in a very horror fashioned way, very 80s style, but very shocking. And so I just want to ask, like, when you were offered the role, or you auditioned for the role, or the film came about and you read that script, or you heard about the opening sequence, what
No,
was your reaction to that? Like, what was your reaction to it?
so I submit for the role, and I was selected, and I was in oh, I was like, wow, I got it. And I was selected for one scene, and after me and my husband, we went for the scene, they were like, okay, we like you guys, we want to explore more scenes. Then we had a second scene, and then a year later, they called us and said, we want more, we want the opening scene.
So you were saying that it was improvised. There was no script. The director trusted you. What was it like working with the director?
She was amazing. I mean, she was very, she explained what she wanted, and she let us to show what we got. She had some directions. Of course, sometimes she would say, do more this, do more that, but she trusted us. She let us to bring her vision to life. And she was very open, she was very kind. She was a very good director.
And definitely was, because that movie was very bizarre. I can't wait for what she's going to do next. Seriously, I'm definitely going to follow whatever she'll do next. And that's great that she gave you the confidence. So that scene that you was in, the final scene, obviously the scene was only 2 minutes long, I believe. But how long did it take for you guys to film?
We started around 5 in the morning, and we finished
Oh,
around 7 p.m. It was the whole day.
oh
The
wow.
whole day.
The
Hmm.
whole day, yeah. I was going to say, because you have a lot of makeup on, so there's no way that that could have been a 2 day shoot or a week shoot or anything. That would have been insane. Plus, as I mentioned, you guys didn't wear any clothing, so it would have been mad if, like, for a whole week, you're just like, oh, I'm just running around nude in the woods for a whole week, and I'll be back at lunchtime, That'd just be a bit funny, wouldn't it? Okay. Who was the actor who played your husband, and what was it like working with him?
He was Clayton Spencer. We got along very well. We met. We both submitted. We both got the role. We met on set, and let me tell you, since then, every time there is a scene like that, they call us to work together again. So we have been back on different sets for scenes like this, because how well we work together, how comfortable we are with each other. that was shown, and he's a great friend now.
Well, of course. I mean, you would not be friends if you're doing a
No,
scene
right?
like that. I mean, you have to be really comfortable to
Yes,
do a scene
yes.
like that. Otherwise, it'd just be awkward. Like, yeah, I worked with him and I know everything about him.
No, literally.
But I mean, that was great though. Like, it was a really. I mean, the scene was all. I mean, the whole. I mean, obviously, I don't want to explain in detail how your character gets killed, but how did you shoot that scene where you know, your death scene? How was it shot? Like, because obviously you get, you know, in a brutal way, but how did it look, or how did it feel when you did the scene? Like, what? Explaining like
So
how you
let me
done
tell
that
you,
scene.
we were naked at 33 weather degree, 33 degrees weather. It was cold, okay, in the middle of the woods, running. I think the cold weather made us suffer a little bit. So that all the suffering that you see there, yeah, the cold weather helped. Like the shivering.
It wasn't the fact you were getting
Cold.
chased by killers. Then
Yeah.
you were just like,
Let me
oh,
let me
I'm
run for my
cold.
life.
I
I'm
don't care about
cold.
the killers. Where's a
Yeah.
jumper?
Um, I mean, it was us running in the middle of the woods. Of course, the crew was amazing. They were going before us, trying to take all the sticks and stones that they would see so we could run that path. But yes, we
Yeah,
were running in the middle of the woods. And when they say action, you don't go, oh, there is a tree here, there is this here. You just go for your life and you be realistic as much as you can. And we did it. And all the falling 10,000 times to get the scene right. Yeah, we did it.
wow. So you went through a lot of takes for your death scene. So you died about a
Yeah,
thousand
it
times
was
then.
a long, yeah, it was a long day. It was many takes because they need to get it right, and especially because there are more special effects and everything, so they need to coordinate everything.
Oh yeah, of course.
But we did everything. There was no stunts. It was us falling. Was and you wanted that to be amazing, perfect. You want that to be real. So I was falling and I didn't care, I'm getting hurt. No, I didn't really get hurt, but I was falling and I didn't care.
That's incredible, and it shows what an incredible sport you are to do something like that. It must. I mean, I tell you what. I bet afterwards you must have been so proud of yourself for doing it. You must have thought, "Wow, I did it."
I It was my list that character was checked. I did it. I was naked, I was running, I was a stunt. I was It was really challenging, and yes, say yes. And uh-huh.
How long did it take? Sorry, I was just going to ask. How long did it take for the makeup to be on? Like the makeup in general.
uh it didn't take long, really. Probably like an hour, because it
Oh,
was
okay.
it was
Yeah,
made in
because
pieces.
normally,
So the beginning they did, and then after you run, you have to go back and do the second part, to show what they want. So it was done in pieces, but it did not take long. They had very good people working on it.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. I was just going to say because I know sometimes with makeup that's normally the first half of the day taken up, because it does take hours, and obviously, I mean, you know, I know the film wasn't like a blockbuster movie or anything, but I know that makeup is always so time
Hmm.
consuming. So I didn't know if they had to, you know, do the makeup and it was like hours and make sure they get it right. And if it was one day shoot, then the makeup had to stay on and everything like, you know, because anything can go wrong. And that's the thing. Um, Brilliant. Well,
So that
sorry,
that
yeah.
scene, because it was running in the woods, the makeup, so you get messy, right? You couldn't be perfect. It didn't have to be perfect, because if you make it too
No.
perfect, they say, oh, that's not realistic.
Okay, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Plus, also because I'm a filmmaker myself, I always look at the editing and how it's done and stuff like that. So I'm always checking to see, like, did the makeup stay on? Was this a stunt double and everything like that? But now you've
It was
confirmed it was
me.
you and the other actor.
Thank you.
Well played to you. And like I said, the movie, in my opinion, is very, very bizarre. But I did like it. It wasn't my favourite horror of the year, though, I will admit. But it was probably one of the shocking. I will admit that. It was definitely on my shock list. But in terms of, was it the best one? In my opinion, it wasn't. But I did really enjoy it. It's an enjoyable film. But at the same time, because obviously I didn't know what I was going in for, me and my wife, we did watch it and we were just like, okay. So that's the film. Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. So that was happening, because obviously I'm not going to spoil the movie, because obviously I'm only talking about your scene. But yeah, afterwards I was like, wasn't expecting what happened there, that certain thing. So yeah,
A
it kind
twist,
of,
right?
whew. Anyway, so yeah, exactly. Right, so Eliane, I know you've only literally got like 5 minutes left now, so we're gonna just gonna quickly ask you this though. Now you've done Bone Lake, and I'm assuming this will definitely take up a career path, absolutely, for you doing that scene. So, would you like to be in another horror film? Like, would that definitely be another
Yes.
thing for you?
Yes. I want always more. I want to improve. I want to, yes, that's my goal.
Incredible. Well, if you're into shock and brutal stuff, hopefully you get a role with Welcome to Derry season 2. Because if you've seen Welcome to Derry, I mean, my goodness, that was really dark. Like last year, that was an incredible TV series, and I love that. What I love, especially because I'm a horror fan myself, I don't know if you can tell, but like with me, I'm so glad that horror is now going back to being brutal, because I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, we had Hereditary, we had Babadook, and those were very like psychological dark movies and they scared me. But it's kind of nice that now they're sort of going, do you know what, we want to bring back that brutalness of it, and we want to shock the audience and they can take it. And Welcome to Derry done that. Bone Lake done that. We've seen some other projects that have kind of gone to do that. And I know that also right now, I don't know if you know this, but they're rebooting a very controversial horror film called Faces of Death, which comes out in April. And I saw the original, and it was shocking, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But what I'm glad now is that they're rebooting this horror, and they're going, do you know what, we're going to bring it back, but we're going to go even darker. And I was like, oof, this is going to be interesting. So, yeah, I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but do you have an opinion on the fact of horror being, it's good that it's coming back being shocking, or do you prefer the
I
psychological
like
side?
both, but growing up, horror for me was the shocking, was all the scenes that they are bringing back. You understand? So I'm all for it. That's what should be, and who knows? Maybe I will be the next getting killed again, or who knows if, or maybe
Or the next
next, or
Scream Queen?
the one killing. You know?
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
or maybe the next Scream Queen, like Jamie Lee Curtis or Neve Campbell. You might have a franchise coming out.
You never
You
know.
never know.
That's
Right,
the
Ilane.
acting career. You never know. You never know.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm sure you'll definitely get there. Right, Ilane, we've only literally got a minute and a half left. But I've got to say very quickly, it's been such an honour to have you on this show. I've really enjoyed asking these questions to you. You've been an absolute joy to talk to. I appreciate you so much for your time, you being here, talking to me. And honestly, I'm glad that you've been so open with your questions and you've just gone, yeah, I'm happy to tell about this. It's great. You've honestly been one of the most chilled guests I've
Mm.
had in a little while, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much
Thank
for your
you so
time.
much for having me. I have to tell you again, I'm as happy to be here as you are to have me. So thank you very much. And thank you all of you
Absolutely.
that are there listening to this. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of
Yes,
you.
thank you to, of course, yeah. Yep, there you go, guys. She shouts out to you listeners. Right, we're going to get into the second half of the show now. I'll be reviewing Scream 7. So the horror is not going away. I'll be reviewing Scream 7, and then obviously I'll update you on some movie news or anything like that. But this was a real treat to have Eliane here, and I'm again so honoured she's been here to stay on the show. But please stay tuned, guys, because I want to talk about Scream 7, which comes up next. You're listening to Manigan's Movie Music, live on Love the Beat Radio.